Good morning, students. I hope you all are very well. So, today let's start with history, chapter number 6. And the name of the chapter is Town, Traders, and Craftsperson. Very simple, very easy chapter. Let's begin with this. Let's talk about the introduction regarding this chapter. One of the important aspect or one of the important development during the medieval period in the 17th century was the fast growing urbanization. Means there was a fast growing cities ta- taking place. Okay, the Arabs, the Turks, and the Afghan migrants, or people from this place, they settled in towns and cities, and there were also many new towns being founded. Okay, here you can see the images, various images regarding the town traders. Here you can see the market. Okay, and people purchasing some of their products, what they want. Okay, let's move on. Growth of trade and rise of cities. Means how trade grows and how cities build it up. There was a peace and racial harmony in Mughal Empire. Travel was safe for traders. Means there was peace being maintained in the Mughal Empire on the during the Mughal rules, and traveling was easy and very safe for traders when they go from one place to another. There was many good means of transport, or there are many options for transport in the country. Roads were well linked with each another, and r- water transport was also efficient or was also good. There was a great demand of luxury goods. Means luxury and expensive goods were in great demand, and which gave encouragement, or it gave plus point for the handicrafts. Means the crafts or the things which are made by hand. The Mughal ruler issued coins in pure silver. There were coins which were issued by Mughal rulers in pure silver. This could be exchanged easily. So it was coins was introduced for exchanging with the commodities. The mandis, or the place where farmers sold their grains. Means mandis is the place where farmers sold their grains or agriculture products. So that place slowly developed into town. Okay, either big and small. Means the place where farmers sold their grains, known as mandi. So around that area, small and big town started to grow. Okay, source of history for this period. So there were many sources. Let's talk about the first. Accounts of traveler. Means the writings or the books by the various travelers. The source of history for this period are the account of foreign travel. Means if you want to know about the history of this particular period, then there were many foreign travelers who had written about their staying in India, or who visited India during this period. They had visited many ancient towns and cities during their stay in India. Maps. The map furnish useful information about the trade towns in India. Means there was map available which shows the various trading towns in India city. The maps of Sir Thomas Roy. Means there was a person known as Sir Thomas Roy. His maps give detailed information about the administrative working of Mughal Empire. The science of map drawing. Means the making of map, or the science by which map is being drawn, is known as cartography. Okay, the official firmans or orders. Means the official firman or orders, it was issued by the rulers of the particular place or the particular area. They are also important source of history of this period. So by this we can know that which which kind of ruler or which kind of dynasty was there, what kind of orders they were issuing, in what aspect, for what purpose. Okay, there were there were developed towns which can be classified into three parts, three types: the court towns, the pilgrimage towns, and the port and trading centers. Okay, three types of towns. Let's move forward. Let's talk about the court towns. Some of the important court towns, or the court towns, were also known as the main administrative center They were Lahore, Agra, Fatehpur Sikri, and Delhi. According to Ralph Fitch, he was a person. They were much bigger than London and more populous. Means area-wise, these towns were much bigger as compared to London, and more people were living here. So these towns were more populous. Let's talk about Agra. It was capital of Akbar from 1585 to 1598, almost for around 13 years. It has a huge port. Okay, it was also center of handicraft production. Means handicraft production was good in Lahore. Let's come to Agra. It was the seat of royal authority during the reign of Akbar. Means main place for royal family during Akbar time. It was much bigger than Delhi. Okay, Abul Fazi. He says that the Agra fort, which was made from red sandstones, it contains more than 500 masonry structures, means big structures. It was very impressed that the traveler who visited it, means though whosoever traveler visited Agra fort, they were very much impressed by the building or architecture of this. Cotton and silk weaving, means weaving from cotton and silk, it was practiced in Agra. Okay, let's move forward. Fatehpur Sikri, it was a capital city which was founded by Akbar, very near to Agra, only 43 kilometers away. He shifted his court, or he shifted his administrative center to this city in 1571, and he stayed there till 1585. Akbar built imperial palaces at, means many good palaces at Fatehpur Sikri to give respect or to pay respect to Sheikh Salim Chishti, who was a Sufi saint who used to live there. Okay, if let's go to Delhi now from Fatehpur Sikri. Shah Jahan rebuilt Delhi, or Shah Jahan reconstructed Delhi again, and he named it as Shah Jahanabad in 1639. He built the Red Fort on the bank of river Yamuna. Okay, let's move forward. Sources of history. Pilgrimage towns. There were many towns which used to be called as the religious importance, or which have the religious importance for both Hindu and Muslim. If we talk about Varanasi and Allahabad, or which is now known as Prayagraj, it was believed to be the holy places and be, been visited by Hindus from all over India. Allahabad has a meeting point of three rivers, so it is important pilgrimage towns for Hindu. Fatehpur Sikri and Ajmer have tombs of Sufi saints, or the places of Sufi saints. So they also became the places of pilgrimage for Muslim people. There were other pilgrimage towns or other important towns, which are Sanchi, Kurukshetra, Nanakana Sahib, Amritsar, Jagannath Puri, and others also. Means they were also important religious place. Port and trading centers. Gujarat has a number of trading towns and ports named as Cambay, Surat, and Bharuch. Means their trading centers, exchange of commodity ports like near to sea, where ships came. Other important ports were Goa, Kochi, and Lahori Bandar. And if we go to east, there was Chittagaon, Sonargaon, Masulipatanam, and Nagapattinam. Important port and trading center. Salpetre was available in plenty in Bihar. Okay, let's move forward. Trading communities. Let's talk about the communities which were involved in trading. Vaishyas, Marwadis, and Bohras. They were the main trading communities, or they were the main trading persons, and Gujaratis were also there. If we go to South India, the Chettias were among the major trading communities. Means Vaishya, Marwadis, Bohras. They were trading communities. Also, Gujaratis were also trading communities. And in South India, the Chettias were among the major trading communities. If we talk about the overseas trade, India carried its overseas trade, or India do its overseas trade with China, Sri Lanka, Arabia, Iran. From these countries, ports were from Kochi, Sonargaon, Goa, Surat, Masulipatanam. They were the important centers, or they were the important ports for external trade, or to carry the external trade with these countries. Indian silk, muslin, cotton, fabrics. These all were in great demand in European cities. The main item of export, or the main commodities which were being sent out, or which were being exported, they were cotton clothes, many spices, indigo, salpetry, etc. And if we talk about the what were the goods which were imported, they were good breed, good bread, horses, perfume, pottery made from China, means Chinese pottery, ivory goods means, the ivory means that elephant teeth. So ivory goods made from ivory, etc. If let's talk about the craft, the Mughal Emperor Akbar and Shah Jahan, they were the great patronage, or they were having the great patronage uh, for various artisans and craftsmen. Means they show respect to person who involved in crafting and artisans. Embroidery on cotton silk and wood was very famous. Means work on cotton silk and wood, it was very famous. Ivory craft flourished in Delhi, means it gained its importance, or it was being treated as important work, or it been the work of ivory craft. It was being famous in Delhi and many other towns. The finest of carpet, means the good quality of carpet was produced in Lahore. Okay, here you can see the image of trading communities, means there a person. Okay, in right you can see there is a person who is selling some product and weighing. The customer says him to weigh the product and to tell the amount so that he can pay. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about the Masulipatanam. It is also known as Machlipatanam, which is located in Coromandel coast, which is in Andhra Pradesh. It was very famous eastern port during the time of Satavahanas, important port during the time of Satavahanas. Periplus referred to as Masuela, where Muslims were made. Muslins were made. Its importance was due to the fact that it was a major port city of the prosperous Golconda kingdom. Means it is very important. Why it was so important? Because it was a major port city, or major city from which port trading could be done, or where from where the ship can sail and take the products to uh, foreign countries. So it was a major port city during the Golconda kingdom. It has seen this trade rivalry between, so there, as it was major port city, so there was the trade rivalry between the Dutch, English and the French companies in 17th century to gain their importance, or to take that port city under their control. It has been well known for its kalamkari fabrics. This place was very famous for kalamkari fabrics. It was also known for its carpet and curtains industries. Means carpet and curtains, you all know. This place was also famous for these two industries. Means where this carpet and curtains were being manufactured. Okay, let's move forward. Here you can see the image of a port city where there are many ships sailing in the sea. Okay, and land, and there is a fort also. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about the Surat. Okay, so now let's discuss about the Surat as a port and town city. It has been the major or the important port on west coast of India, situated in Gujarat. It is located on the river Tapi. Okay, important porting town. If we talk about the Mughal rule, or during the Mughal rule, it rose to be the chief commercial city of India. Means from the time of Mughal rule, it was the chief commercial city, and now in nowadays also it is also the important commercial city of India. It also had imperial mint. The pilgrimage to Mecca sailed mainly from this port. Means in the ancient time where there was only sailing route or only the sea route to Mecca, there the pilgrimage to Mecca sailed from this city. The textile of Surat are very famous for their silk and gold zari work on the fabrics. When the local artists came in contact with the foreign, fashion and design underwent change. Means there was a time when local artisans or art workers they came in contact with foreign workers. So there was a change in fashion and design. Means they updated their self and so that their design would be more easily available and more changes can be seen. It led to the adoption of different patterns and colors, which I mentioned earlier. So this meeting or this contact of local artists with the foreigners, it led or it gave the change in different pattern and colors. Means no more new pattern and more new colors can be seen. The work of precious stones setting was especially developed in Surat. Means the work of precious stones, working on precious stone setting. It was especially and exclusively developed in Surat. The Seths and Mahajans of Gujarat, they have them many banking houses at Surat. Means many important persons they have banking houses in Surat. Surat is now also known in today time. Surat is now also known for its diamond cutting mean work on diamond and jewelry polishing or diamond cutting and polishing industries. Means cutting the diamond and polishing it industry is there. Okay. So here is the image of Dutch cemetery in Surat, which is related to Dutch. Okay. Let's talk about Hampi. It is located in Karnataka and on the bank of river Tungabhadra. It is a fortified city, means old city or almost a destroyed city. It was the capital of Vijayanagar Empire, which was founded by, which was founded in or which developed in 1336 by Harihar and Bukka, who was the two son of Sangama. Uh, Okay, Krishna Dev Raya from 1509 to 1530 for almost 21 years. He was the greatest king of the Vijayanagar Empire, a very popular king of Vijayanagar Empire. It reached to its zenith in 16th century. Means the Vijayanagar Empire reached its maximum height or maximum advantage in 16th century. There were many European travelers or persons from Europe and traders from Europe. They wrote about or they have written about the wealth and splendor or the development of the capital city of Hampi. Means many European travelers and writers they have written in their books or in their writings regarding how the city of Hampi was having very wealth, very popular, very beautifully made. Okay, here is the image of Hampi, old image. Okay, here is the you can see a temple. Okay, where old image because it is from 16th century. You all know that we have studied about it. So here is the image of Hampi city. Basically, here you can see a temple, premises of temple, which is broken down, but the main area where the image of God is there is still preserved. Maintenance work is going on in today's time. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk more about Hampi. So the construction of Vithal Dev temple, it was, means there was a temple of Lord Vithal Dev. It was started by King Krishna Dev Raya, and the construction was continued by his successor, who was Achyut Achyut Raya. Its pillars were carved with sculpture, means many design and artwork was there on pillar of this temple. Beside the temple of main deity Vitthal or Lord Vishnu, with main except the main deity or main image of Vitthal or Lord Vishnu, there was separate channel, there was separate place for other god also. The House of Victory, another building found here. It was built by King Krishnadev Raya when he won over or when he win over the king of Odisha. The Navratri and Dashera celebration, means these two celebrations are or being organized on a big scale or on a grand scale at this House of Victory place. King's present added glory to this festival. Means when the king mark his attendance, it was being treated as the glory or treated as a good thing to the festival. Like, okay, king is present, so then it must be a good thing. Okay, so means a king. So basically, the whenever a king is present in some of the other festival, it added that the or whenever the king is present during in any festival, the standard or the glory of that festival raises. The queen's bath, the lotus mahal, and the stables of elephant, or where the elephants are kept, are very few other grand structure. Means they are also the important structures or important place in the Hampi. The Karnataka government organizes Vijayanagar festival. Means the government of Karnataka annually organizes the festival of Vijayanagar or the Vijayanagar festival, so that it reminded us the importance and glory of this empire. Now the Hampi has the badge of the World Heritage Site, or Hampi is treated as the World Heritage Site. Okay. Traveler's account of Emperor of Vijayanagar, means why, what different traveler has to say about the Emperor of Vijayanagar. If we talk about the Italian traveler Niccolo Conti, who visited Vijayanagar around 1420, he said that, or he wants to say that the Emperor of Vijayanagar was very rich, very big, and very prosperous development. He referred to the practice of sati in this kingdom. He has also told that there was a practice of sati in this kingdom during this time of visit. Abdul Razak, who was the ambassador or who was the representative of the Persian king at the court of Zamorin, he also visited Vijayanagar in 1443. He had left detailed description. He has also says in his description that Vijayanagar empire was very rich, many prosperous development was there, very well maintained. Okay, and many more detailed description can be found in his writing. Here you can see the image of King Krishna Dev Raya, who was the very important king and very famous king of Vijayanagar Empire. So students, here come the end of this chapter. Read the chapter carefully and listen to this video very carefully, so that you will understand each and every detail of this chapter. Okay, and to avoid confusion, read the chapter and listen this video again and again. Thank you. Have a nice day.